and I've pumped and hauled some water, and one more thing's for sure. I've seen my share of dust and sweat and moved my share of manure. But any dreams of ranch life were just castles in a cloud, because we were just too daggone poor to even buy a cow. And a horse was out of the question, as long as your feet still work, and the pickup truck could pull a stump and hold up to the jerk. Folks told me I'd outgrow it, and I kept hoping all along until I passed my 40th birthday, when I figured they were wrong. Well, I'll never work for the sixes, but I did my own best thing and took a job with a dude outfit, wrangling a gentle string. Of course, I didn't start a horseback. I had to pay my dues and earn at the end of a manure fork the dude string P's and Q's. But I kept my place and listened and started guiding rides, and come my very proudest day, I just sprung in the line when a crusty older cowboy walked up and spit in the sand and wiped his mustache on his sleeve and said, "Gal, you've made a hand." Well, I don't work that job anymore, and I'll never work a ranch, but I got a little old piece of ground where I finally got the chance to grow a little alfalfa and keep jackstock that I ride. That's why handling hay and long ears inspires nearly all my rhymes. And so I guess the title cowboy poetry might not apply to mine. Instead of a poet lariat, I'm a poet asinine. And if why I'd ride a donkey makes you laugh and wonder some, I'll tell you just exactly why, but that's another poem. And we can go there later in time if interest permits, but donkeys have been my preferred mount now for over 10 years, and there's a lot to be admired about them. And one of the things that I like about them is their toughness. You see, donkeys are mostly a right sturdy lot. They seem to stay sound, vaccinated or not. But one morning when Brian didn't rattle the windows, I went out to find that mine had influenza. Well, I called up to vet and she made the connection, suggesting I treat secondary infection. So I dosed them with sulfa and shot penicillin, put them nights in the barn just to keep them from chilling. I coaxed them and nursed them and set mashes warming and checked them for fever at 5 in the morning. I held up their tails, propped the light beneath my chin, and thermometer in hand, I went hunting ass ends. Well, then I just chuckled, because the joke seemed to be that I don't often hunt them, they mostly find me. Oh. Thank you very much. Now, if you live in a rural area, well, actually, you know, a wise man said that good fences make good neighbors. And if you live in a rural area, you know exactly what he was talking about. I've had all kinds of stuff turn up at my place. Cows, goats, I had a pig turn up one time. Probably one of the most memorable things that turned up in my yard was a half-grown Holstein bull. He come through his fence and 2 of my fences to end up in my backyard. And he was about half-grown. I thought, well, I'll just go out there and run him back through the hole he came in. So I went out there and he lowered his head and looked at me like they will just before they run off. Only instead of running off, he kind of shook his head and blew snot and started plowing up the ground. And discretion being the better part of valor, I went to the house and called my neighbor to come get his bull. And as memorable as that was, it wasn't the most memorable thing that ever turned up at my house. In fact, one time, I got home from work, and there the guy sat just eating a pizza and chewing the fat, quite unaware of the ruckus out back, caused, it turned out, by my neighbor's old Jack. Now, I don't really know them. They live to the north, but we wave on the road as we go back and forth, and they're passable neighbors in most other senses, except for this Jack and their not-so-hot fences. Now, the Jack is a pet. At least that's what I guessed, because I never seen anyone work him, much less ride him or drive him, or saints please preserve us. Perish the thought they would stand him for service, because his pedigree's vague, his past convoluted, his gene pool, suffice it to say, is polluted. He's not very big. and his rough coat is thin. In front he toes out, and in back he hocks in. He's pig-eyed and roof front and ewe-necked to boot. Why, this Jack is just too hard to look at to shoot. So it figures he would find my place quick as any, especially what with my 3 right nice jennies. Yep, he had honed in and was doing his best. He'd been chasing around till he worked up the sweat, and at last had retreated, holed up in a bunch as scared and uptight as the gambler's hunch. But the Jack was undaunted. This amorous brute had forsaken the jennies and turned his pursuit. This misguided missile of jackass affection now romanced my galley and from all directions. Well, I hollered and harassed and bribed him with grain till I got him pinned up. But he never refrained from lamenting his plight in wheezes and roars and a voice reminiscent of nails on chalkboards. His protests persisted throughout the long night, far into the morning and on past first light. Since I never slept, I was already up, so I brewed some strong coffee and poured a big cup. Then I got in the truck and went down to the neighbors to ask if they'd possibly do me the favor of fixing their fences to keep in their Jack. Their door never opened, so I come on back. Now, I know they were home, because their trucks were all there, but they didn't answer. Why didn't they care that their wandering Romeo bred all my jennies? If they felt remorse, they have yet to show any. I guess my best hope is that timing was wrong when old Knucklehead answered his own siren song, and that early next spring don't bring long-eared reminders that if neighbors were keepers, I wouldn't be finders.